Are you going into practice to save money or save lives? If you're going into practice to save lives, then speed the process with which you can do that. And you do that by investing financially in a coach, and you do that by investing financially in a CA. All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jakubowicz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatric, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go. All right, here we go, everyone. I am fired up for this one, and you're probably thinking, Dr. Tony, aren't you always fired up for anything and everything talking about bringing neurologically focused, pediatric, perinatal, and family chiropractic to the world? I am. So this is the Family Practice Podcast. So this is where we reach out to this incredible profession that we love so stinking much, because it's the only one that has the ability to truly transform the world, not only with our adjustments and our care, but it's our philosophy that families out there today really can transform their lives with. And this episode here can be transformative, not just to startups. Now, I know the title, but I wanted to speak to it here in the first 30 seconds, hoping to catch everyone, no matter the stage or phase of practice you are in right now. You need to hear this message. And these 6 essential, foundational, don't open a practice without them steps are actually entirely relative to every stage of practice. There is no stage of practice that you should go through and look to grow into and level up to the next stage of practice without continually deploying these 6 essential steps. So we're going to get deep into each of them, and we're going to get into action steps and strategies that you can put in play within each 6. And there's actually 7. You'll see there's a foundation. There's kind of a step, there is a step 0 we need to get into first. Let's talk about the problem that our profession is seriously facing, especially startup, brand new graduate chiropractors. But then let's also, because I feel like this message here to startups is the same message that would be the unbelievable solution to those successful chiropractors who are getting sold out by the hundreds, thousands of them for shockwave and decompression and stem cells and functional medicine and, TRT? I don't know, testosterone injections, peptide injections, whatever. I don't even know what these things are. But I just see 2 problems that I want to slay head on with this episode right here. Number 1, I keep hearing this stat that 50%, so 1 out of 2 chiropractic school graduates are out of the profession and doing something other than chiropractic within 5 years. WTH, you guys. How? When you have the greatest freaking product in all of healthcare. And that's not hyperbole. There's literal data that says, look at how healthy kids and families are when chiropractic is their foundational. This is what they do for their family. They get adjusted. They live their life in the chiropractic lifestyle philosophy, if you will. The contrast, the result, and again, it's not only observed clinically in practice by hundreds of thousands of us over the last 100+ years, but there actually is data on this that says, goodness gracious, look at the life that we give to people. And when you give that amount of impact and that amount of value to families in your community, it's unbelievable what kind of practice and what kind of level of success financially. We call that value exchange. So ROII, return on impact. When you impact kids and families in your community at that level that only chiropractic can, your second eye, your income goes through the roof. And actually the business model of chiropractic done this way is so simple and so straightforward. How? It literally mystifies me. It stuns me that 50% of people would screw it up so bad that they're not even in this profession anymore. But that's only going to happen to you if you stay on the standard track, okay? Who would think that success comes from a standard path? Whoever goes to any school, I'm going to send my kids. I don't know if 1 out of my 4 is going to become a chiropractor. I certainly hope so. But whatever track they choose, whatever major profession they choose, I'm going to tell them the truth. Look, y'all, the minimum standard of having a chance, I wouldn't call it success. The minimum standard is to do what the classes and the curriculum teach you. The path to success is to go outside in addition to that and go beyond that. And then you're guaranteed success. So no, you're not going to standardize success. It wouldn't be called success. That's called average, okay? So I know all the problems. We're not going to go into that. We're going to go into the 6 essential steps that lead to impact and success instead. But I want to introduce one more stat that I don't have data on. This is my own study. So this is what I've been observing over the last many months because I love podcasts. So this is a chiropractic podcast for the chiropractors who want to thrive in family practice. And so I love business and I love chiropractic. So I listen to podcasts that, and well, let me go. I actually really, really love neuroscience. Okay. That's my first love. So I listen to tons of neuroscience, Huberman, those sort of podcasts, right? So neuroscience, health, vitality, that's our world, right? I listen to a ton of those. Then I love chiropractic. So I try and find chiropractic podcasts. There's not a lot of them that really fit my model or concept of chiropractic. So it's a little bit of kind of like pulling a little bit of this from that to get what I need out of it. And then I love business, marketing, leadership, strategy, that sort of stuff. So that's my flow of learning. So if you put all those together, especially the last two, what I've been on the hunt for so far this year is to find out why the majority of quote unquote successful chiropractors who are supposedly quote unquote principled, subluxation-based, nervous system-focused chiropractors who have $1 million practices. And I'm not even a fan, actually, of using a 7-figure practice as the supposed bar to success, but it totally fits this conversation. That's a damn good practice, so let's let it be, okay? I just know that we're capable of so much more than that. But the truth is, I have been on the hunt because I get into these seminars, I get into these podcasts, and I look on Instagram and Facebook and my emails, and I see all these different chiropractors who are being paraded in front of students, startups, and practicing chiropractors and being said, hey, this is the model of success. These guys, these gals, they have 7-figure, multi-million-dollar practices. So I go, okay, dang, I love that. That's not, that's a metric I've always found represents the totality of our impact. You get paid at the level with which you impact and improve other people's lives. Now, I know you could definitely take some less congruent, impactful routes within the business world and get there. And that's what I'm getting at. Even in chiropractic, this is now being done. So I keep finding these names. I keep finding, they're on seminars, they're speaking, they've got podcasts, they're doing all this sort of stuff. And they're being told, we're being told that as a profession, this is who we should look up to. So I started doing some digging. I started doing some sleuthing, okay, on websites and really listening inside the podcast and inside their speaking and inside their Instagram and Facebook posts. And then I would go to their practice pages and look at the services that they're offering. And what is absolutely got me fired up, not in it'll be a good way. It'll end up in a good way. But in a very ticked off way is no one's telling you the truth. I have found that 85%, and it's just a random literal list that I keep in my iPhone notes, and then I went online and did the digging. 85% of people who are being told, hey, these are successful chiropractors, are principled family practices. Guys, it's shockwave. It's supplements. It's nutrition. It's functional medicine. All of these supposed principled, subluxation-based chiropractic groups today, not all, okay? 85% technically isn't all, but we're getting there, right? So you can kind of see where my brain went with that word. 85%, the vast majority, are literally getting that revenue number, not profit, and they're not even getting there on chiropractic alone anymore. It is all sorts of bells and whistles and multifaceted integrative therapies. Now I get it. Functional medicine, IVIGs, peptides, NAD, whatever that is. Obviously, mixing in other services to a practice revenue model is not new to this era. But when I got into practice, I just knew a whole lot more chiropractors who were my mentors and the people that I looked up to who truly actually did have $1 million plus chiropractic clinics that were chiropractic alone. And I hate to say it, and I really hate to see it, But it seems like that's going by the wayside. So I'm really glad that God called us to the Family Practice Podcast. I'm really stoked to get into these 6 essential steps, because when you go after these steps to start and slay your practice startups, and out there listening, those who smartly clicked into this one, because you know what, even though I'm for like me, 17 years into practice, you know how to grow it better for next year and the next season, to continually roll with a startup mentality and use the foundational core principles of success to not just grow at the beginning stage, so to grow from 0 to something awesome, but what about from something awesome to continued awesomeness beyond that, and awesomer? It's these steps. And what I got to tell you, what I want to really help this profession with, is when you really crush chiropractic all by itself, principled, subluxation-based, life-transforming, neurologically focused chiropractic for families, you can build the most multi-million-dollar, 7-figure, all-cash practices, and you will not need to sell out to stem cells. You will not need to sell out to decompression and peripheral neuropathy and functional nutrition and all these other sort of things. You can refer out for your patients who might need that, and you could build an incredible collaborative community of professionals like I have here locally, and we teach our PX docs to do. Look, I'm not saying any of these things aren't amazing. I'm not saying any of them don't work. I'm not saying tons of patients in your community don't need to and will massively benefit from them. But when you crush this business model, the last thing you could ever do is dilute or distract your purpose, or even your practice's profit centers, with these other services, which are actually great for revenue, terrible for actual profit. Just ask anybody who runs a multifaceted, integrated practice. I did it for a short season way back. Another story for another day that I've told on the podcast before and probably will again. And it looks great on paper when you're promoting yourself on Instagram or at a seminar. I've got a $2 million practice with a $1.9 million overhead and more stress trying to deal with all these other services, all these other practitioners, all these other team members, all these others. It's just a freaking nightmare. So, enough with my opening rant, but I want you to know that frustration and disappointment, honestly, if I'm being really, really true, is leading to us. We are going to crank out more helpful, principled, neurologically focused, family practice growing content on this podcast, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. If you have not already followed us, The Pediatric Experience, on Facebook, on Instagram, and if you do not subscribe to our YouTube channel, really get over there. We do a lot of content that fits around the podcast, but we also add a lot of educational, what we call long form videos, where we'll bring in some visuals and some graphics. And so if you're more of a visual learner as well, or you're also, it's auditory and visual, and you really want to grow your family practice, make sure you check out our YouTube page as well. I'll make sure the team puts it into the show notes. Okay, so first off, that's the introduction. That's the problem we're looking to solve with this, is we should not have 50% of first 5-year chiropractors exiting stage left. We should not be believing the BS that we need to sell our chiropractic soul and sling shockwave and stem cells and supplements in order to thrive financially. And in my personal experience as a startup, I can tell you unequivocally, I keep saying 6, and again, it's foundational. It's really 7. These 7 steps work. They worked so well for me, I actually went off track. I didn't have the exact congruent brand. That's why I know about the high overhead and the dilution and distraction of an integrated model. That's why I know the difference between a standard family-ish chiropractic practice and a full family practice. Because these 7 steps that I'm about to talk you through and teach you, they really worked for me. And I didn't even have the target lined up perfectly, if you will. I knew in my soul that I wanted this principled, neurologically focused family practice, but all the way back in 2007 when I got started, I didn't really know what that was. I didn't have the lines really filled in and cleared out to say, is this even possible to be this congruent, this philosophically sound, to be all cash and to be 50% pediatrics, pregnancy, and really actually have a family practice? I was forming it up in my heart, my soul, my goals, my vision board. But again, I hadn't seen it. I had never seen anybody do it. So I needed to develop some of these things, kind of go off track to get on track. But these 7 rules still applied. They still worked. And actually, when we get into branding and marketing, I didn't even have the 2 things that we're going to really illustrate for you that you can't miss. And there's actually more than two that I didn't have that you now do that are really important, but there's 2 lead horses. Number 1, digital marketing, social media, the internet was around. I'm not that freaking old. I didn't roll into practice with a horse and buggy, and set up shop next to the blacksmith. I didn't do that. But it was not Facebook, not Instagram, not Facebook ads, not able to go nuts with this sort of stuff. And then also the marketplace of moms. They were moving towards us for sure already 10 plus years ago. They are now sprinting away from the pediatrician and the conventional medical system and coming right at us. But I talk about those things all of the time. So many of you may be on here and be like, Tony, I know it. It's happening. Give me these steps because I'm ready to get after it. And me too. Let's go. Step 0, the foundation. Okay. So let's talk about this metaphorically before we get into it strategically. You must build your practice from the beginning by laying the foundational bricks just right. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? The very first thing you must do financially is know what the foundation of a successful family practice is as well. And the truth is, you don't know yet. You don't have one. Okay. And that's okay. None of that is judgment. That's just a truthful statement that says you don't know what you don't know. And so what I did in the beginning, and I will recommend for my entire time here on earth forever to everyone, no matter actually even the practice model they're going after, is pay to speed up your learning process. You must have a coach. And actually, I'm just going to introduce it because it's on my notes. I'm going to come back. We're going to go 1A, or I guess would that be 0A and 0B? You absolutely positively need to get mentorship and coaching to be able to speed the process of learning what you don't even know. And what that'll do is it'll get you to learn exactly what to do. And a great coach and a great mentor and a great community that you can plug into will literally, perhaps most importantly, tell you what not to do, how to not get distracted, waste time, waste money you don't have because you're a startup, okay? So speed is everything as a startup. And actually on my list too is don't go it alone means don't go without a CA. So there's a 0B conversation here that we're going to break down, and it's essential too. And you might be like, I can't. I'm a startup. I got school loans. I'm taking out a loan for the office and the lease and the build out and the marketing. I'm just going to schedule my own patients. I'm going to do my own financials. I'm going to do my own scans. I'm going to pay my own bills. I'm going to, work all my own systems and procedures, and I'm just going to do everything myself. What about that? Seems fast. What about a doctor who answers their own phones, schedules their own payments, runs their own scans, does their own financial reports, and sweeps their own floors and pays their own bills? Sounds professional. Do you think a mom wants to take her entire family and prepay for a $5,000 care plan to a doctor who's not even at the level of professionalism that they can have a front desk CA? Come on, y'all. So I don't actually want to spend a lot of time on 0B here. I just want to introduce it, punch you in the face with it with love and empathy and say, do not boutique this. Do not solopreneur this. It's the worst advice you could ever get is saving money as a startup. Are you going into practice to save money or save lives? If you're going into practice to save lives, then speed the process of with which you can do that. And you do that by investing financially in a coach, and you do that by investing financially in a CA. These are the two things I did that worked wonderfully. I paid $1,500 a month for coaching as a startup, okay? I paid one coach, this group, business experts. I paid another coach who had a vitalistic family practice. Shout out Dr. Troy Dukowitz. I will forever give you credit. You are amazing. And he got my chiropractic crap together, okay? And collectively, I paid $1,500 a month for 6 months prior to even opening my practice and having our first check ever collected. And so we borrowed that money. It's an investment. It's not debt. And we took that money, we took that investment, other people, sorry, Ramsey buddy, would call that debt, to speed up our impact and our success. And then also we paid Julie, I'll leave her last name off of it, Julie, who we stole from an office manager from another successful corrective care practice. She loved chiropractic, but she was ready to leave the corrective spinal bony model, and she wanted to serve kids and families because she had a child who had some sensory ADHD challenges. So when she met me and I found her, I said, you got to come work for me because that's the sort of chiropractic we're going to do to help your son, and you can help me help more kids. And we couldn't afford her, and it was insane. And she took a pay cut to work for us, and we took out more money from the bank to pay for her, and it was a greatest move I ever did. Don't go it alone. The foundation is mentorship is essential. You don't even know what to figure out because you haven't been at it before. So you got to get into a course. You got to get to a coach. You do not go it alone. I can't say it enough. I could literally do a 60-hour podcast. I was going to say 60 minutes. I could actually talk about how bad of an idea it is to try and start a practice, a life, a business all on your own to save money. Just literally think of it the way it is. You're not in this to save money. You're in it to save lives. And by doing so, do you not want to make a ton of money for your family and your practice and your life as quick as possible? Like that's fine. By the way, money that comes from this purpose, this impact it's biblical. It's exactly what God has called us to do. You can create more impact the more successful you are. And so don't slow that down by going cheap in the beginning. Mentorship, coaching is essential, and having a CA is essential as well. You will not only be able to capture opportunities so much quicker because you'll know what's coming and what to do, but you'll be able to, and you can write this one down in your notes, you will be able to save hundreds. I mean it. I've calculated this out. My coaches saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars in what would be opportunity costs. So mistakes that I would have made that if I didn't have coaches, that would have cost me tons of money, and opportunities I wouldn't have captured if I didn't know exactly what direction, what to do when, next step, that my coaches, these manuals, these binders laid out. And BT Dub, I didn't even have the PX level of coaching. There was nobody that had my dream practice out there that really knew how to do this. So even though my blueprint and the mentorship and the business coaching I got was really successful, so my foundation was strong, it wasn't as strong as it would be today, because if I'm graduating today, I'm plugging myself into PX coaching mentorship community, because that PX practice model would be, for me, the exact perfect model to get after. So that's step 0, foundation. Step 1, and I call that 0 to be strategic. I want that to be just honestly, metaphorical, to say, is that an action step that could have been 1? Yes, but that is just how you lay the foundation. Step number 1, literally, where you grab your laptop, you grab a big old, poster board from Hobby Lobby, and you go to a coffee shop, or you go to a cool place within your apartment, or wherever you want to go. Step 1 is to build out your vision, your mission, and your brand building, okay? So really developing, okay, this is what our vision, this is what our purpose statement is going to be. Purpose statement, mission statement, pretty similar things. This is who we're going to serve, who's our exact ideal avatar, not just pediatrics, not just pregnancy, not just families. You guys, hold with me here. That's not enough. Go more detailed. Are you very specifically called to serve pregnant moms and brand new babies and be the most essential neurological foundation doctor for a healthy start? And you want to really focus your practice on that? Well, then you got to really crush that world, okay? You got to really know everything about the fertility, the pregnancy, the brand new infant developed, the co-regulation, the mom-baby bond. You got to own that space. You got to go deep there. Go narrow to go deep. For me, perfect storm, sensory, ADHD, autism, special needs, epilepsy. That's my calling. So we go deep there. So I just give a couple examples there. Within the family practice arena, saying you're a pediatric, perinatal, and family expert is not enough. There has to be something within that your particular vision and mission really, really dominates with. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be specific, and it's got to be you. Not only does pediatric and nervous system focused family practice allow you to set yourself apart in a crowded competitive market, if you were to choose regular chiropractic, back pain, shockwave slinging chiropractic, get ready for the reddest of oceans. And right here, if you want books to read to go along with these steps, I'm going to have the team literally put them in the show notes. But my favorite books here are Blue Ocean Strategy. Okay, that's a marketing book. And then 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. And there's another book all about vision building. So check the show notes after this one and get into those books. If you are a startup, those books are mandatory reading. Because inside, so when I opened up, being a pediatric chiropractor, focusing on the nervous system, those two contrast points were really, really, really effective in differentiation in a crowded market here in Crystal Lake, McHenry County, Chicagoland. They still are. I love them. They're very, 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 very effective. But and I might have had a lot to do with this, okay, over the last 15 years of really pushing the pediatric, perinatal, nervous system focused family practice model message into this profession, therefore into communities everywhere. You may be setting up shop because that's where you, your family, you need to live in a practice in a town that has a lot of different pediatric. And again, listen to the 3 types of family practice episode already out on this podcast, and you'll see that really only PX offices are full send on this model, but there might be a lot of other pediatric-ish, family-ish practices that you need to be able to differentiate yourself from. So again, even inside pediatrics and family, go deep. Who is your ideal avatar? And that's what you're going to build your brand around. Step number 2, this is everything. Clinical results, okay? Really, every one of these, but especially this one, when I built my outline and my notes for this, and we built what's called our PX Startup Playbook. So if you love what you're learning on this podcast right here, and you want an entire playbook and an entire online course that goes with it, literally in this order, this is how I wrote. It's an actual printed book we can send to you in person. And so, because I love this, my favorite chiropractor to mentor and guide, coach, whatever you want to call it, and help out, just crush in impact and life, is obviously students and startups. It's like the brand new baby coming into practice who you get to care for and optimize their nervous system and get them our philosophy and get that whole family this way of living before they go into the perfect storm. You don't have to pull them out. So even though I am called to this work to go into the storm and get kids out and thriving, I love never letting them go into it even more. Same in this arena with helping chiropractors and startups. It's my favorite thing. If I were to choose, okay, for the rest of my life, I can only go do live speaking events or podcasts or make books, which is what the Startup Playbook is, for a group of chiropractors. And I had to choose between students and startups and chiropractors who are 20 years in, been cracking backs, billing and, modifying codes and decompression, and then try and convert them and transform them into this practice model. I love you, latter group, and I built a playbook and a course for that too. But startups, we have an entire book, and it goes in this order. And I remember writing the book, and then we just updated. There's a whole nother version that'll come out right around this podcast, and we're doing a big webinar, a big launch, and everything to go with it. You can click in the show notes, go to our Instagram, go to our website to get all that sort of stuff. Truth is this, all right? When building out the outline and the table of contents, if you will, it took everything for me to put that coaching, mentorship, as step 0 and the foundation, instead of this one, which is your certainty, your conviction, your clarity, and your clinical results. Now, I'm putting all my favorite C's on one line item here and putting them within one action step. But you could easily see how this here is the foundation for your practice success. Because without high-level clinical proficiency, without really being able to be the catalyst, be the adjuster, be the care plan recommender, be the primary adjustment, primary subluxation finder and slayer. If you can't do your job clinically, that is the product that your practice will set upon. You can't say to the world, we're going to get into marketing next, your marketing system. You would not want to go out into the world and say, hey, expect miracles, experience miracles here in this practice, if you didn't really fully proficiently know how to deliver those miracles clinically. Parents can sense uncertainty. They can sense posers from a million miles away. You must master your craft. You must absolutely invest in advanced pediatric training, certification, mentorship. That's why we built those programs, so that we can back up what we're saying to the world with our PX Docs platform. And you have to be able to deliver transformational, life-changing care plans, not just adjustments. Now, what I always try and do in this podcast is not only give you theory, not only give you the 30,000 foot view, not only fire you up, but teach you granularly, bullet point wise. This is what really moves the needle. So I want you to come back to what I just said, and I really want that to go into your notes, because if there's one thing in all of this step that you need to deploy for every single patient to its fullest capacity in order to experience miracles and get clinical results, it's not just that you are a masterful adjuster. Each singular visit, an adjustment for a child, for a pregnant mom, for a parent would be masterful in its singularity. You must master care planning. Care plans make miracles because care plans are plurality, a sequence of adjustments over time. And that's how the nervous system heals. That's how the nervous system restores, rebuilds, reorganizes, and gets back to vitality and adaptability and resilience. So the chiropractic adjustment, singular, is not where miracles come from. Chiropractic adjustments, plural, is where miracles come from. And so you must be a master care planner. If you want to separate the most impactful miracle-making chiropractors in the world, it's not their technique, it's not their systems and their procedures, it's their care plan ability, which brings us to marketing and communicating. Step 3. See, the reason, just to merge these, perfect segue, the reason that most pediatric chiropractors wuss out and still today, absolutely freaking mind-blowing, most frustrating thing ever. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought you already gave us your most frustrating thing. I have a long list of equally tied, frustrating, ticked me off things that this profession still does here in 2025 and in the years to come, which is mystifying, frustrating, disheartening, disappointing, angry, infuriating. And that is the old 2 times a week for 6 weeks care plan model for a child with autism. Or 3 times a week for 4 weeks, 2 times a week for 6 weeks, 1 time a week for 12. That's the old 24, 36 step down model that everybody outside of PX still teaches. And there is the neuroscience behind that is awful, meaning the neuroscience to prove that that is going to barely put a dent into neurological healing. It won't. It's not enough. It's not enough chiropractic to go against the perfect storm that's happening today. So why would a chiropractor wuss out on care plan recommendations? Because they lack certainty and they lack the ability to communicate the value of a real care plan to parents, get them to pay cash, get them to show up that often for that long, bring their whole family under care, and also upstream, if your branding and your marketing is weak, you may then wuss out on care plans because the way you brought these kids in was under a lower value brand positioning versus the way we market. So the way you get into step number 3, branding and marketing to moms, this is how you build a thriving family practice, is you must learn to speak their language and infuse our language into it. Now here's what's exciting. Drug-free, root cause, natural, nervous system focused practitioners. Just look at infrared saunas, cold plunges, and Oura rings. You've never been trending and more brandable and more marketable as a practitioner than ever before. The entire chiropractic profession in its entirety has never had the opportunity we have. Now, standard spinal care probably even still has this because again, opioids, bad branding, right? Spinal surgery, not really doing so well in the marketplace, right? The entire big pharma, big food medical system going down in flames. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, sitting on the front of the boat is broken, the band already fell into the ocean, and now so is big pharma, okay? That's freaking fantastic. You know who's already been leading that charge and will lead it fastest, fuller, more great English on the podcast? Moms. Do you think grandmas and grandpas with back pain and musculoskeletal issues are really still leaving Merck? Not quite. So I'm putting this podcast out for you to start your practice and slay it today. When you market to moms, their language is, tell me the truth, give me the root cause, talk to me about the nervous system. So when you can take their language, which is what they want to hear, which is the truth, and you infuse it with what chiropractic already freaking naturally is, the truth, and neuroscience about the nervous system, drug-free, root cause, DC stands for doctor of cause, son of a bee. We are perfectly positioned with marketing. So how do you market? Everywhere, all the time, wherever a mom is, you are, okay? You go old school. You better believe when you start up your practice, you are still joining the chamber, okay? You're going to be Chamber Christina, okay? What's a CH name? Chamber Chris? Well, that doesn't even have like the same Okay, all right. So you're going to the chamber, you're going to BNI, you're going out, you're shaking hands, you're kissing babies, okay? Well, you would be adjusting them, but you get the point, all right? So go old school. Networking, community building, coffees, doulas, midwives, holistic pediatricians, pediatric PTs, OTs, speech therapists, ABA, teachers, social workers, mental health counselors, you name it, you're building a network. You got to build a collective of like-minded, philosophically sound practitioners. You're going to be the nervous system expert. You're going to be who they refer all their patients to. I built my practice this way. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have Facebook and Instagram, but I did have radio and print. That's just advertising. And I had to pay for it. You can now do it for free. So if you thought I was going to skip this one and not say slay social media and put your pediatric, perinatal, family practice brand, nervous system, insight scans. The insight scans are the most marketable. It's not what they're for clinical change, but they're also very marketable. They're very effective at communicating what we do and differentiating yourself to the market. So you better believe that branding and marketing is It's not just an entire podcast episode, you guys, to teach you how to do just slay startup marketing. It's an entire freaking book, course, PhD level, education. And so I wanted to hit the most important things. You want to double down on old school marketing. It still works. Community building. Internal marketing, okay? So I would put that kind of the community and the internal marketing. That's obviously always been around, always will. And then when you go external, here's the best news. The last thing you need to do in this model, and really should do, is go screening, go to the tire shop or the accountant shop and do a back pain message and get those patients in. But you absolutely externally get new patients from Instagram, Facebook, and digital marketing, your website, your email newsletter. You got to crush this stuff. Facebook, Instagram, top of the funnel. We teach the marketing flywheel within the startup program, and we get very freaking granular into each of these steps. The only thing I want you to see on this episode, for sake of time, is to see how they all go together, okay? As you're getting that message out to moms, it's never been easier output-wise because of digital media and social media. You can get the message literally in front of you. You don't have to go screening at Costco. Take the screen from your phone, put it in front of your face, do videos, write posts, take pictures of the practice and kids getting adjusted, put messages out there, go to Canva, make carousels. If you really want to speed the process, you just go all in with us. You do PX Plus. We even have a startup version of that. And away you go. And you put that message through your screen, your phone, and it pops up on their screen. Anybody with that kind of digital screening, which I'm kind of being, like, oh, that's kind of a funny way to look at it. Well, it's real too. Anybody who really knows how effective digital social media marketing is today and tells you to still go do actual old school screenings in your community, fire that coach yesterday. That is the most outdated approach to build a practice, and it really is not effective at all in the pediatric period. Now, if it's a birth expo or something, okay, maybe, but like for real, come on. You can't, is there a birth expo every single day with 300 moms to it? No, you can organically reach thousands of moms in your community with digital marketing, social media. I got to move on. It's pretty obvious though, where you would want to really deploy most of your time, most of your efforts as a startup. And that is called internet, social media, digital marketing. Step number 4, you must have a strategic plan and proven systems. Get a blueprint. Okay, there's a system with which to do this. We love to talk about with our practice. Well, I love it. Our leadership team loves it. Our CAs, they maybe at first go, oh no, another new system, another new framework, another new procedure, or an updated one. And then they go, oh yeah, no, just kidding. They love it because we only hire people that love systems and procedures. Theory is great. Ideas are awesome. They're exciting. They don't do jack, okay? You got to systemize everything. And the systems and procedures of a thriving family practice are they're about as different as you could get from a corrective care, spinal, adults, Medicare, bill insurance, hook them up to machines. They walk in, they get all wobbly, then they just stretch their neck out, then they go on another stretching machine, and then they get adjusted with like the Flying 7 and a bunch of machines happening. And then after that, they go do more rehab, and then I don't know if they snort their magnesium out the door, if you send them home to do that with dinner, I don't know. But those models have proven systems to them as well. That's what every other coaching group outside of PX and those like us, okay, every other coaching group outside of PX is going to tell you, okay, that's how you do that model. Yeah, it's, throw a rock, awesomely, hit a coach or hit a group who knows the proven systems and blueprint for that model. That's who I paid. My first business coach was not pediatrics, was not family, was not pregnancy, was not subluxation based, was not nervous system focused, was not, all cash. It was rehab, and it was processes and procedures that were it was like a freaking 1988 Trans Am with a mullet. And I'm not talking like the mullets that have made a comeback. I'm talking mullets back then. Tight rolled jeans, braided belts, freaking LA gears, cassette tapes, compact disc player, if you're lucky, like a Sony Discman. That's the kind of business coaching I got. It's still pretty much the same 30 years later, okay? If you look at the business models and the practice procedures that are given to most students in startups, they don't work at all for a family practice, okay? You got to have a totally different layout to your practice. You got to choose a totally different location for your practice if you want to be minivan and SUV friendly. You got to choose a totally different paint color. You got to have different equipment. You got to have different CAs and humans that are working for you. Everything is different with the procedures and the systems of a family practice. And so there's a blueprint for it. And it's really important, back to the foundation of hiring a CA, that right out of the gates, as a startup, you get a CA who is a systems, procedures boss. Someone who loves it, who wants to get the schedule busting, someone who gets the flow and the office tours and the scans. There is so much of step 4 within your systems and your procedures that are going to be done by your team. So you need to know these things inside and out. You need to be the one who puts them in play and has oversight and accountability for your team on them. But this is really where the CAs shine, okay? Step number 5, communication, conversions, care planning. Ha! You're thinking, whoa, Tony. I think we already hit this one. See what I'm doing here? It is so dang important that I actually pulled communication, conversions, and care planning back out of clinical, back out of marketing and branding. And when we wrote the startup book, I remember thinking, am I going to be redundant here talking about this communication, connection, authentic, structured, but not scripted communication, how to build trust, how to deploy relatability and empathy, how to then step into getting their trust, being an authority so that they can get onto a real care plan and be clear, confident, concise, convicted, and have the courage to present that care plan to them that has neuroscience behind it. You're thinking, didn't you already cover that? I did, but there's nothing more important to transform that child's life than you being able to communicate and then convert that kid and that family to a real, actual care plan. So step 5, when we train our docs and we train our interns and we train our associates, and then now we have this whole PX startup manual, playbook, course, community, and obsession with it. 50% darn near of our membership within PX are thriving startups. 50% of the interviews we do here on this podcast are thriving PX startups who followed this blueprint to the T. They would tell you for sure that they're thankful and grateful that we were intentionally redundant about how important your communication skill set and frameworks are in order to really convert kids and full families to a care plan. I just got done a couple of days ago prior to recording this episode and getting ready to launch it here in the spring and summer, and along with the new version of the Startup Playbook, which needed an update. I'm so glad as the sun comes out, I'm so glad we're putting that together for this profession and for you guys. And again, go to the show notes, click on it. You can jump on a webinar, learn more about it. You can order the freaking playbook, have it shipped to your door within a couple of days. You can get in the online course. You can get in the community. Go to the show notes. Take a couple of clicks. You're smart. You're awesome. You're graduating freaking chiropractic school and going to open a practice. I trust that you can guide yourself into this process. I'm not going to do a overly hard sales pitch for what we have. It's incredibly dialed in stuff because I have the most amount of passion for this component of the profession. Go to the show notes, follow the links, anything you need. And if you get confused at all, send us a DM. We'll take it from there. This one, though, right here, I just got done pouring into. I got to go to Kansas City. Shout out to our Club PX Cleveland crew. And they combined with the Philosophy Club. We did a 6 a.m. Friday meetup. Almost 50 students packed this Summer Moon coffee shop. And I got to talk about chiropractic philosophy and pediatric chiropractic and how important it is to really crush your philosophy. And a couple of our amazing PX docs showed up. And the number one thing that they were most excited about is that in this early stage of their practice, they're getting full families converted onto real care plans. So a doc was just a shout out to the Ascension team. And I'm saying Ascension team because this was a whole team. Their brand new startup associate actually did this report. Dr. Eliana, okay, you get a shout out, Dr. Eliana, because you have been Club PX all the way through this podcast. I'm sure you've listened to every episode and you were just on it and you're well trained. And she did a $7,000 prepay full family report of findings and conversion 1 month into practice as an associate. Guys, that's what we're talking about here with step 5. It's a real life example that happens, that is real life, for all PX practices all over the place, because when you own all the steps that led up to this, your certainty, your conviction, your experience, your advanced training, your systems, your brand, your marketing, the way we brand and market, this is what moms expect. It's actually what they want. It's what they demand is an actual care plan. If you were to say 2 times a week for 6 weeks, they wouldn't convert because they know that's weak. They know that's watered down. If you try and sell them lasers and supplements, they're like, I didn't come here for that. I came to have my child's nervous system changed. And so this is where everything really separates your practice from everybody else. Your communication and your conversions and your care planning. And number 6 is a very close cousin. You're going to pick up some redundancy by design, once again. Number 6, go big. Do not play it safe. This season of starting this kind of practice, a principled chiropractic family practice, this is not the season. This is not the time that God has called us to play it safe. This is not the time for smart goals. This is not the time to boutique it and limit it and save your money and count your pennies. This is the time to unfreaking leash. Guys, lean into this podcast. Follow the successful PX offices. Reach out to them, the people that we're interviewing on this podcast. Don't just take my word for it. Of course, I'm saying this is the greatest freaking model. I love it. I do it. I built it. Don't want to just take this as an in of one story and you want to check it out, go shadow. Go to whatever community you are, go to the PX Docs directory, find a PX Doc office, go shadow. Talk to them about what this model really brings to the table. Talk to them. Most importantly, actually, I'm saying this wrong, not about our model and what we're doing. That's not what I'm trying to say here. Talk about how different moms are today than they ever used to be. Talk about how easy now, guys. I am teaching you the essential steps to starting a thriving family practice. Do not think I'm telling you it's going to be easy in that term and that definition of that word. What I am telling you is the absolute truth. It is easier than ever. Not only do you have the blueprint, the playbook, the systems, the procedures, you can plug in all that if you want. And if you want to go it alone, okay? Just use these things. Know these things. Don't listen to this podcast every day of your life then, okay? Over and over and over again, all right? But go freaking big. I'm telling you, my heart, my soul, and my head, which really pays attention to market shifts, trends, and knows business building. And I know startup mentorship very, very, very well. I've never told anybody to play it safe because I think that's the worst thing to ever do as a startup because you got to burn the freaking boats. You got to go all in. If you got a plan B, then just go ahead and light your plan A on fire as well because your plan B will do it for you, okay? In this season, though, there's never truly, actually, this isn't podcast, friggin' pomp and circumstance and hyperbole. It's real market data that says this is the model that crushes today. It crushes on impact and life transformation for kids and families in your community. Therefore, it crushes on income for your family. Go all in. Don't look back. If you need help, hit the links. Send us a DM. Reach out to me even personally on my socials if you really want to connect and you really just want to get to know me and you really want to just get to know PX and you really want to go, is this the path? Is this the model? Is this the program and the proven systems that I should trust? If you want to reach out to us and you want to connect in that way through this podcast, you can do that. We are building the podcast. We have our YouTube. We have our Instagram. We have our Facebook to put it in front of you. We're not going to leave you alone. We need you in this army. We need you in this tribe. This massive shift that's happening, do you know why it's happening? Because kids are that sick and moms are that anxious and dads are that depressed and lives are that destroyed in your community. And Big Pharma's done. They've had their run. They're toast. They're cooked. And do you really think supplements, essential oils, meditation, sunlight saunas are going to do the trick? Or do you think those kids and families need to get on your freaking table and get adjusted to have their actual entire lives transformed? If you know the neuroscience behind what's really fueling the perfect storm and the chronic illness epidemic that is ravaging and ruining families' well-being in this generation, then you really know that it's only us who can really do something about that. Not only with our product, our care plans and our adjustments, but also our practice, our experience, our community, our philosophy that we can share with these families as well. This is the model. This is the path. These are the 6, really 7 essential steps that get that done. And I hope you got so much value out of this episode. I tried to get into not only the 30,000 foot view and the fire and the inspiration, I wanted to get you as many actual nuggets as you can. They're in there. If you need to, if you're starting up right now, if I'm starting up right now, I did this. My favorite wasn't even podcast back then. Dang, I'm old. But like different MP3s that I downloaded on my iPod. And yes, goodness gracious, when I started up in 2007, even CDs I would listen to and from, driving from the practice, going to seminars. I actually took lessons, episodes, if you will, that I loved the most, and I would listen to them on repeat all the time. I hope this one is for you guys who are starting up right now, or you find this a few months or a few years down the road and you come back and we send you this episode. Listen to it multiple times. And if you found value to it, can you help us reach more chiropractors so we can transform more kids and families' lives all over the world? Could you please subscribe, download, please leave a review, and if I could ask for 30 more seconds of your time, could you please hit the little link that says copy this episode's link, and could you text it to your classmates, to your other startups, to other people that you know are right in your shoes, right in your season? Could you please send them this episode? It could transform their life. And when we transform startup chiropractors' lives, do you know how many millions of kids and families' lives we can add up to collectively transforming with this podcast? I need your help to do that. God has called me to this, to be here for you, to coach you, guide you, inspire you, teach you, call you to the mat, whatever you need me to do. Friggin' reach out and ask, and I'll do it. I love helping. I love serving. I love this profession, so I love you. See you on the next one. Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.